Well, I have been hard at work on something. uh, Only indirectly tarot related because I've been doing this thing where I do. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. I've been doing this thing where I've been writing some code that starts on my very lonely RedM roleplay server. Nobody comes to play on, but except for me. But I am improving it and getting it ready just in case the need should arise. But what it is, I was working on last night. Actually, the reason I didn't stream is I did this thing where, see, I'm law here. I am the sheriff here, and I can open up the door and mosey on into my office and do whatever I need to do and all that stuff. So anyway, I'm going to go on duty. There, I'm on duty. It means I'll draw my salary and everything. I think I locked the back door up. I like it. Yeah, good. And the side door is locked. Okay. But anyway, what I did is I've been doing a thing where the law people on my server can be assigned clipboards. So they have a clipboard here and they can use it, and boom, law records come up. And that means that I can create, I can say, the suspect is named Billy Johansson. The crime is bank robbery. Penalty in Sisika prison will be 400 minutes. The dollar fine amount will be 200. Statute of bounties is wanted, and associated with case name will be the OG1 Valentine Bank robbery. And then I'm going to put some notes here and say, I'll say Sheriff Bash. And I say I'm doing the note August 10, 1886. Billy was reported to be leaving Valentine minutes after bank was robbed using explosives. Was pursued and lost in direction of we'll say Mount Hagen. Advise. I don't want to waste space. Advise talking to more witnesses. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I can save a draft. So I've made this thing. I'm not sure I want to. Okay. So Billy Johansson, bank robbery, blah, blah, blah. And there you go. There you have something. Comes back up August 1, Valentine bank robbery. And then I can say, okay, I'm done messing around with it. Maybe it'll take me a day or two to, and I can say publish and make it live. And now all the law department, the sheriffs, the deputies, everyone can open up their clipboards and they can see organized by last name, who's wanted, what the status is. When a case is done, bounty status will be marked completed in here. Anyway, it's all in and the notes came back up, so it's all there. You can delete them too. But anyway, it's just a stab at making a better law interface for keeping track of wanted outlaws and stuff. And you can associate. What I'm going to do is say, okay, now if I have another person like this guy's case over here, I can associate him with that same August 1st case name if I want to. And then I'm going to put a search in up here that says search by case name or case code. And so you would put in your case name and all the case items associated with that case name will come up, and you can, see how things tie together, whatever. Just another little option. So that's something I was writing. It's not tarot, but it's it's part and parcel with the whole damn thing. Because I can do tarot wherever I am. I can do tarot here. Huh. Well, something appears with world reversed to not be particularly whole at the moment. Something a little fractured going on, perhaps. But the Eight of Wands comes popping in to sort of encourage us to keep our best efforts applied, to keep a balanced effort going on, and keep in mind the word perfection. And then we've got a reversal with, again, we've got 9. Okay, so a 9 of coins, and that's upside down. It's, resources. It's a struggle. It's a struggle to get what you need, to move things forward, to get things done. It's just a struggle now. It's almost like the perfect card situation for a recession, if you're going to have one. It's just a struggle to get things going, right? Got to keep your creativity and that constant effort. You use every ounce of your skill and know-how in order to break through the barriers that are going on, sort of fractured sense of dislocation and problems getting the resources that are required. Just constant sort of turmoil. It's tiring, but fall back on your deep and broad creative powers. That's what that's all about. I am going to actually do something unheard of, and that is open a queue. We have a queue open. And we'll look at the tarot table where earlier I drew these cards just before I turned the stream on. And I was kind of liking them. Because this reading, I'm going to shut the game off. There's no reason to keep it going while it served its purpose. You can always come back to it. So this Hanged Man card, I'm always sort of curious about it. And he comes out and he hangs there and basically says, the idea is let's not worry so much, right? Sometimes Sometimes it's beneficial to drop your guard, which means dropping defenses, vulnerability. And that's what the Hanged Man's doing there. And it's a primary point of advice here for this draw, which is, drop your guard. It's not necessary to be on the defensive all the time. And again, we have the powerful creative spirit showing up as an underlying factor, a force that we can't even control. We're not even always conscious of what we're doing and how it's operating. But there it is, driving us like the little engine. And then here, what we strive for, what we aim for is this, again, the perfection of effort, the acquisition of skill, performance of our art, the using of everything we have to create, to build. The magician, it's a big step from creative energy and the fire, the will to do or to make, into the act of actually putting it all together, producing, pulling things out of thin air, nearly. But in order to get there and appreciate and develop, in order to learn, we've got to basically do what's often referred to as paying our dues. Up here with the Hanged Man. There he is, doing his thing, letting his guard down, being permeable. I was playing a lot of Baldur's Gate a few days ago. Really fun. Apparently it's doing so well that they're saying this game is like showing unheard of numbers of concurrent players, and it's being responsible for like 1/3 or something of all the play time on Steam. And I think it's pretty clear why. I think because if you release a thing that is a thing unto itself, that is complete in and of itself, a story that is and no matter how vast the thing you make, if it's a thing that's complete and you give it to people and there's not anything in it that demands that you pay extra or, satisfy some criteria in order to get a piece, it's just there for you as one thing. And I think it's obvious that companies have grotesquely misunderstood their gaming customers for the past 10 years. They've just horrifically miscalculated. They have assumed that everybody wants these service sort of things, these things that lead you into paying here and there. No, they actually don't. And it's been shown that they don't by this event, which apparently is really actually historic in gaming. What's going on this week? It's astonishing. What's happened with this relatively small company that's released this gigantic game. And as frustrating as the game can be when you don't quite know what you're doing, what's interesting about it is that you get a feeling, even when you're super frustrated, that it's improving, that you're getting better, that you're figuring it out. And because it doesn't arbitrarily throw bullshit at you. I was playing Diablo 4 also a few weeks ago, and I quit. And everybody says, oh, the good part is the part that's like fun is the part leading up, is the first part. And I'm like, actually, no, that's actually not that true. It's not that fun. It's really obnoxiously repetitive, and things are done that throw you off in ways that are so obnoxious and unfun that I got fed up and I stopped playing. But I don't have that reaction to Baldur's Gate. It's interesting. You're in this story, and even though you are fumbling, you don't know how to do these fights in this game, it doesn't matter, because you know that you're not being mistreated by the people behind. You're not being just arbitrarily thrown nonsense. Hey, Big Scripper, how you doing? I'm just having a quick little mention of some gaming stuff I've been trying on Baldur's Gate. Everybody's playing it, and I was playing it, and it really is fun, because it really gets you into this idea that you're not being fooled around with by the developers of the game. You're not being looked at as, how can we get more money out of you and keep you in this thing and not really let you complete anything. Whereas Baldur's Gate is like, here's the story, here's a huge thing, put it on your computer, figure it out. And if you can figure it out, you can do the whole thing, end of story. And that's what it is. And so I think people are really, really liking this, and they're appreciating being treated as people who want to be given. People want, even though they don't know it, they want something artistic. They don't want a game that's a grind. They pretend they do in order to fit in, but they want an artistic product. It's the same thing that makes people want to go to a great movie, a fun movie. Who wants to go to a movie and grind? Nobody. Not one person on earth. I would dare say that there really isn't a single gamer on earth that wants to grind and go and like chop rocks all day long, to get resources. But see, they're chopping rocks, and then somebody shoots an arrow at them from off screen that they can't see where it's coming from, and it kills them. And then they lose half their stuff, and they have to come back and do it all over again. But then an axe comes from off screen and kills them. But this is something that Baldur's Gate doesn't do. And so you notice it right away. And that's why millions of people are jumping. They're like, wait a minute, this is a D&D game. How are all these people playing it? Well, because they can tell as soon as they see somebody playing it, they go, oh my gosh, wait, this actually looks like it might be fun. This doesn't look like going to work and clocking in. Almost every game I've seen for the past 5 years in my extravagant gaming career, most of them feel after about 30 minutes like clocking in at work at a factory. Ka-ching. Okay, I'm going to do my thing. Almost 95% of the games feel that way. Diablo 4 definitely feels it. No Man's Sky, big offender. World of Warcraft feels that way. One that feels a little less that way is Guild Wars 2. Star Wars Old Republic. It can't quite get out of the gravitational pull of the grind. And another thing about Star Wars is the long walks. Long walks where if you don't have a mount, something to ride, you're going all these long distances on the map to get to do things. whatever. But Baldur's Gate, man, I'm telling you, there's something they've got. First of all, the areas you get into in the map, they're very detailed, but they're actually not that vast. So you're not wandering you're going down a little bend and then boom, you run into something to do. But you see, you run into something to do, but it doesn't just come like out of nowhere. Maybe there are some surprises, but they're done well. They're not done so that you're like, oh my gosh, that was just totally ridiculous. Anyway, I like to talk about that in conjunction with my tarot work. So, tarot is a game too, of course, but tarot is a game that is never grindy. I guess I just reviewed the game. Huh? So, it's a good game. Big scripper, are you like a script writer? Do you script for JavaScript or something? Is that what that is? If you're still here. Don't mind me, I'm just shuffling. Oh, let's see. Okay. Oh, wow, look what's popped up again. So we've got the Fool reversed here. And the Fool reversed is kind of like, is sort of that impulse to be a homebody. We're just not interested in running around and being, worldwide sailors and adventurers at the moment. We're just kind of ready to relax and sit down and be cautious and safe. And that's where we're at. And that's just that's what we're doing. And now, then here we have another cautious number, another safety number, the 4. This is, very, very stability. So we want to sit at home for a while. We're enjoying the home and we're staying there. And here we are in the home. Okay. 4 of Pentacles. In other words, 4 of roof beams, floorboards. It's right there. And over here, this, we're building. We've got it in us. We've got the fire. We know it's there. It's not going out. It's not going to leave. It's fine. We'll get to it when we get to it. But for now, we're sitting on the sofa. We're enjoying the TV. We're having a good time. We're going to look forward to our next burst of energy. That's what's transpiring in this. I'm going to pop through a bunch of readings here. Now, let's pop out another one. There we go. 1, 2. Wow. What have we here? Well, we've got a reversed 8 of Pentacles coins. And that is, again, we're fumbling the hammer and the screwdriver. We're banging the nails in crooked. We're not quite getting it. We're not quite where we want to be. We can't seem to get the energy and apply ourselves the way we know we can. It's a little out of whack. Our work isn't perfect. Unhappy with it. Unsatisfied. It's not there. Now, we have plenty We have plenty. We know what we need to be doing because of this ace. We know that. We've got all the darn skills we need. We've got the capability. We've got resource. We've got access to resources. We know what to do, and we can do it. We're just having troubles for the moment, okay? But here, over here, the Three of Cups, where we're headed. And that is really kind of, going to feel good about things. We're going to feel good about what is going on. It's very active feeling good. It's very active getting in touch with what your heart is driving at. But we're going to get there, and we're going to feel good about the whole damn thing. Okay? It's coming. Let's not worry too much about it. Let it roll off the back, sort of the way things do. At least when you're smart. Now, I'm going to say, we'll do a reading here. What'll it be? You know what it's going to be? It's going to be for the island of Maui. They're having a hard time out there. Oh, God. Okay. Wow, well, how perfect is that, huh? The unnamed card. Reversed, though. But what that means is, in this case, we're talking about Maui. They're having fires, towns are burning down and stuff. It's going to be hard to recover. And that thing there is, this card is showing us, it's pretty devastating because it's going to be hard to do a regrow from this. It's going to be hard to get back from this. There's a lot of damage here. It's very hard to look at the, at this as fertilization. But here we have the calm, stoic Queen of Coins. She's looking at the material world, the devastation, and she's facing right up to the problem, and she's going to put all of her concentration and energy into it. So it's good to know that there's energy like that somewhere inside of I suppose it would be the people in Maui. And here, the Knight of Cups comes up. The Knight is very aggressive, and this is saying no. There is no aggression here. Following your heart isn't. We can't do that right now. Our hearts, if you're in Maui and having any knowledge of Maui, the heart is broken. The heart is down. It's not going to go running forward in search of itself at this moment. It's hard to see any chance for regrowth here. The mind is shattered by the event. And so the Death card reversed is basically very much about death and an end. And so the perseverance and the calm strength here shown by the Queen of Coins, there's a lot of material devastation to fix. That's what this card is saying. Look, what else can we say other than that's what has to happen? I believe that a town I thought was very charming in Maui is gone. Completely burned right off. Burned. Just to a cinder. Right on the beach, right on the shore. Lucky to be me. How are you? Oh, I see two. Hi, Brittany. Hi. I just noticed you're in the queue. Brittany, go ahead. You're up. I'm shuffling. I'm getting ready. We're going to give it a very, very thorough shuffle. Now, what you do, just come up with your topic and let me know what it is in chat, and I will have a go at seeing what these cards want to tell us. And lucky to be me, I see you. You're next up. Life perspective. The tarot can do that. Let's see. Let's look at perspective. That is actually a really very wisely phrased question. All right. The top card is our main signal, our overriding concern. Left card is subterranean, unconscious sort of motivations that we're not quite seeing clearly. On the right is what the cards want us to see clearly and move toward. Main signal, Page of Cups. Young, inexperienced, enthusiastic learner. Left, Knight of Swords, very active, aggressive, confident. And over here, the Pope or the High Priest reversed. Okay, now, there's a lot of learning to happen. And it has to do with learning really primarily about what it is that's inside, that what it is that we want, that you want. What it is that makes us feel best. And we don't always have a good grip on that. We don't always understand what choices to make ourselves feel good. We have trouble picking out or understanding what's true love, that kind of thing. This is what's expressed by the Page of Cups. It's sort of a confusion, but it's not an unhealthy confusion. It's a confusion that's born of inexperience, but wanting to learn. You see how this page has the lid of the cup removed, and he's pondering, he's looking in. That means he's delving in, even though he knows he has no concept of what's going on. He doesn't have the skills or knowledge yet to really understand what he's doing, but he's diving in, he's going to learn. Okay? And he trusts that. Almost like the Fool at the beginning of the tarot deck. He trusts that all will be well as he progresses in his quest, you see. And this is the overriding message of the reading for Life Perspective, is maintain that enthusiastic, youngish sort of idea that there's always something to learn. You never get to the bottom of your own feelings, really. It doesn't matter how much great work you do, how many improvement books you read or anything. You never get fully to the bottom of it. It's the constant exploration that is represented by the Page of Cups that's so interesting and gives you so much energy. It gives you so much material to work with in your life. So you want to keep a grip on that kind of youthful vigor of finding out what makes you feel this or that, or, chasing your own heart, basically. All right. Now, underneath parts that we're not always really aware of is this Knight of Swords, very penetrating intellect, a mind that's very, very capable, and in fact, very quick. The Knights are all about speed and energy and bing, boom, straight to the point, no hesitation, cut through all the crap. That's what the Knights do. I mean, they're almost like they'll race into danger. I mean, that's their job. They're knights, right? So there you have something in your mind, something, a reliance on your intellectual capacity that you can always use, and sometimes you may ignore and not actually give it enough thought. You're not actually relying on it enough because maybe you don't even trust it. But there it is. Okay, now it's there at working in conjunction with this sort of self-exploration up here that, is willing to say, I don't know anything about myself yet, really. I don't really know. I'm going to try to find out, though. But you've also got this skill. Very useful. Now here, the Pope, High Priestess, basically represents kind of tradition, religious ideas, teaching, kind of an authority figure that's maybe older who teaches and bestows wisdom. But it also has a feeling of more sort of based in structured kinds of environments. It focuses more toward organized ideas, organized beliefs, traditions and rituals and knowledge that is sort of can sometimes be a bit dogmatic. And so you get the reversal here. And the warning is that the tarot is giving you is, if you're following your heart and you've got all this enthusiastic learning, you've got a penetrating, keen intellect, be cautious of dogmatic, dull, stick in the mud, old-fashioned ideas. Be careful of somebody that represents some form of authority and great knowledge and wants to guide you and get you to do things in a certain way that are perhaps based on some kind of tradition or the way somebody used to do things before. The cards are giving a big hint that could be problematic coming up. And just, it's sort of saying, don't. And also, the warning isn't always external. It's not always about look out for someone else that gives you this. But look out for this in yourself. Look out for not paying attention to the enthusiastic sense of I always have something to learn. And look out for not trusting your own keen perceptions. Look out for falling back on your own old, safe, boring ideas that maybe you've had trouble getting beyond. So, the real big card of this reading is this one. Enthusiasm and keep searching. And enjoy the search. Don't worry about whether or not you're finding the exact thing yet. And stay out of repetitive, old-fashioned kinds of thinking that don't really, if it doesn't inspire you, that kind of thinking. So that's a That's a little perspective, I think. I hope that helps a little bit. Perspective, life perspective, sometimes, it gives you, cards can give you little bits of perspective that you're very welcome. They give you just enough to kind of go, oh, I see maybe how this applies to something that's been kind of bugging me the last few weeks. Yeah, you're very welcome. It's good reading. Very useful, I think. Lucky to be me. It's you. Hi. I'm shuffling. The cards will have for you in just a moment. We will see what they have, what they are meaning to suggest. Aha. Oh. Main overarching umbrella thought is here. And it's judgment reversed. What is it, perhaps, that maybe, it's one of those things when you sort of lie in bed just before you fall asleep and you're kind of, things wind through your brain and you feel kind of like, you can feel rotten about things. You can also feel excited about things, but can you kind of take an easy sort of perspective on what you've been up to and say, yeah, I'm following my little inner voice. I'm following my own self. Can you say that? The card is reversed. It's going, okay, that's the issue. Overarching issue here. Are you listening to the inner voice, the little voice? Sometimes some people think it's the outer voice. It's coming from above. However, there's something that you need to pay attention to. That's what this card is saying. And you need to pay attention to it in a sense that, can you feel good about what it is you've been doing or are doing? Can you feel good? Do you feel like you're in a position of honor? Do you feel like you're being your actual? Is it true? Is what you're doing true? True to yourself. And that's what's saying. There's maybe time. It may be time to really concentrate and listen to that voice and see what it's saying. If it's been ignored recently, that's why this is here saying, it could be time to think this way. Sometimes listening to that voice can get us out of real quagmires. Now here, sort of an unconscious motive, and over here, we have a very conscious one, something to look out for. Okay, so here, the Ten of Swords reversed, which is, if we're not listening to an inner voice, if we're missing something and we want to get there, everybody wants to feel like they're following their true self, their true reason for being. Everyone wants that. If we're sort of ignoring signals and signs and little voices, then we can kind of get very tired. Our thoughts can get kind of wind down and we get very lethargic and things feel like an effort. And that 10 is the end of a cycle. It's where you end something and you can be as tired as you want, but you're moving forward. You're moving to the next thing. If it's reversed, then you're kind of like, ooh, I'm tired. I don't quite want to roll forward. I want to roll out of bed and do the next big thing that I know I have to do or I want to do. I'm just kind of, I'm all beaten up and tired and bedraggled, right? That's what that is. And this is sort of this is something we're not even aware of. And we're like, oh, maybe that's why I've been so exhausted lately. That's what this is talking about. Now here, this is where the card's just saying, okay, this is an issue that you're going to have to face coming up. Not quite yet, but you're coming to it. The devil. The devil's about being tied down and controlled, and you cannot escape. It can mean you're stuck in the control of ideas in your own head that you've put there that you can't break free of. You know, that's a lot of problems people have are, I think, based on kind of winding round and round in the same set of ideas that have never been productive for them, right? That's what the devil card is at. That's why the two people in the devil card are tied. It's like they're tied to the pedestal there. They can't get away, and there's this creepy, like, devil, lording it over them and enjoying itself quite apparently, while those two are just kind of like, well, we just have to sit here and wait, and maybe somebody will come along and set us loose. You know what I mean? You really have to set yourself loose. The devil card wants to say, break the bonds that hold you. Don't get caught up in unhealthy situations and ideas. Stay away from them. Don't even get near the pedestal so that the devil character can click the rope onto you. Don't even approach. Stay away from. When you see it, you'll know it. Stay away from it. Now, if you're not listening to your inner voice and you don't quite know where you should be or who you should be, it's very easy to fall into this trap. That's what this reading is talking about. It's very easy to get sucked into a quagmire, caught in someone else's control. Look, if you don't know who you are, okay, if you're having trouble finding your path, as this card suggests, and you're feeling tired, your brain hurts, and you're not thinking as clearly as you might, then you can become susceptible to someone coming along, let's say someone like me, a guy or a woman who comes along and says, I have the answer for you. You listen to me. Do as I tell you. Join my little whatever. Be the way I tell you to be. Everything will be good, you'll see. That could be this card here. That person could be that. People who join cults and things, I think we should always just show them this card. Say, have you thought about this card lately? Do you know what this card is? Think about it. Keep it in your wallet. That's a good warning, actually. And in fact, I think that, not listening to your inner voice, that's something we all do. We're all guilty of that at various times because it takes work to listen to sometimes it's embarrassing to follow your inner voice, to do things that people will be like, what? You want to start playing the piano? Are you kidding me? You never played the piano before. Come on. You know what? Go shop for groceries and get this nonsense out of your brain. So you have to be, it takes effort, and you have to be willing to kind of, fall on your face and be humiliated if you follow this voice here. But if you resist it, you can very easily end up in a quagmire. It can even be a job that you hate. This card could represent. You get stuck in some job you hate. That's what this series is saying. Follow that voice, the voice that actually makes you feel best. Follow that, and you will have all you need to avoid getting caught into a devil card controlled situation, a trapped situation. You know, we often think that people with weak minds get into all sorts of problems and stuff, but actually, no, it's tired minds like this card. They're tired. The mind gets tired and it feels defeated. That's what this card is. It's defeat. And so if you have something you feel defeated about, then perhaps, turning this card around so you're listening to this incredible voice, and it's not coming from the clouds. This voice comes from yourself. Then you avoid getting stuck. So I hope that gives some inspiration for the, for the foreseeable little future. Every time I have a night where I get like the same card 2 or 3 times, I'm always like, wait a minute, is that because I wasn't shuffling? But it's not. It's because I always shuffle very thoroughly. It's just one of those things about tarot that you never know. You could end up with this wild streak. I had a 2, 3, and 4 cards show up in a row. I think it was actually 1, 2, 3, and 4 the other night. I'm going to switch it over to this one. I need a haircut. I need a haircut. Damn it. I'm going to cut my hair. I'm going to do a hair cutting stream. Jesus. I think they're pretty well shuffled now. I've got to get my own tarot deck printed. I want to use them. I want to use them for real. All I have to do is send them. I'm just lazy. I don't want to send them yet. I'm like, ugh, because I've got to upload all of them. So I'm going to have to do that. It means just dragging and dropping all 78 of them into the thing. And it's not that hard. Nine of Pentacles again. And 9. Tricky number in tarot because it's, it's almost. It's almost there. It's almost done the thing. It's it's the runner who gets tackled at gets tackled, I don't know what, if there's 10 seconds in the game left and gets tackled at the 9-yard line. There's 10 seconds left and it's 4th down and they need at least 4 points to tie the game. That's like the 9. You have to press, some of the decks, show the 9 in some of the suits, being wounded. They're right at the end of the battle or the war, and they're wounded and struggling to get through to the end. That's, but yeah, the 9 is that. It's finishing. It's trying to finish, but it's also very much about elevation. Making, you learn, you discover things, you reach a new understanding, or you reach a whole new level just by having gotten to this point. Aries, how are you? I'm doing very well. I've been working kind of hard on things the last few days. I've actually been a little tired myself out somehow. But, that's actually, I'm very content doing that. I've been talking about gaming lately. I've joined the Baldur's Gate hordes. Look at that. Okay, well, that's 6. 6 when it comes in. Yeah, gaming. Yeah. Baldur's Gate is a really fun game. Really, really great piece of work. 6s, when they're reversed, they are about not relating to those around you, not being in sort of a communal spirit. That's what 6 is a great number, because it's all about kind of the joy of participation. Yeah, gaming is good. So much of gaming is about you spend a big bunch of money on a game and then it's like, oh boy, am I gonna even like it at all? Tarot and spirituality, go for, yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point. Well, that's why I'm here. That's what I'm for. Do I think tarot can be used to communicate with certain gods? Yeah. Yeah, because the reason is that, tarot, it doesn't operate as... In other words, its voice isn't coming from some definitive, specific source. Its voice is able to, whatever it is that one's mind is concerned with, whatever one's belief is, the tarot will work through that filter. It will operate that way. So if you're talking about, a god, whatever, and you say, certain gods, so people have different gods. And who was it that, the guy who wrote Watchmen, I think. He was saying, the Watchmen comic book, he was saying that gods do exist in the human mind, and that you don't have to look for gods and whether they exist anywhere else, that they actually are real as part of the human mind, and that's where gods operate. And I was like, that's a really interesting quote. But that's why I think the tarot can be seen as, it will access anything like that. It depends on the person using the tarot. It depends on the person inquiring of the tarot. If they are using the tarot with that in mind, then that's how the tarot will function. Tarot is very much open. The tarot is really a tool, because of course the pictures on the cards do not lock themselves into absolutes. They're kind of open. They convey certain things, but they also can be contradicting those things when they're reversed. Well, the tarot doesn't, yes, they can be manipulated. Anyone can, anyone with a set of 78 images can manipulate them, just the way anyone can manipulate letters in an alphabet and make them spell anything they want. You can use the images in the tarot to spell out anything you want, depending on how you look at the cards. The tarot is not really about giving a specific true thing like a prediction or anything like that. The tarot is about opening up your mind and giving you moments of, oh, wow, that makes me think of this. Or that makes me go down this whole new path I hadn't thought of before in my mind. I'm thinking about things in a different way now. I'm able to sort of be more flexible. Tarot offers hints and suggestions and inspiration. If you go to an art gallery and look at a painting by a great, famous, brilliant painter, you're not looking at that painting going, tell me what I need to know. Well, what's different about that painting and this painting? Nothing. They're both paintings. They can both hang on the same wall. So, how are you? Hi, Katathina. You become inspired because of your reaction to the painting in the museum. You become inspired by the tarot because it functions in very much the same way. It has ideas that are attached to it, mainly because other people have sort of put those ideas in our minds about certain parts of the tarot. But the tarot is just 78 pictures. That's all. It has no secret. It's just 78 pictures on 78 pieces of cardboard. And if you look at a few of them randomly, they may add up to something in you that makes you feel really good and inspires you to do something, or inspires you to think about your God or gods, whatever gods interest you or you believe in new ways, or kind of make you go, wow, I'm now more interested in thinking about my gods than I was before. The tarot somehow got me enthusiastic about it all over again. The tarot has that effect on people. Very rarely does tarot make people go, ugh, I don't want to learn anything more. It doesn't really have that effect. It always has sort of a positive, like an effect that makes you want to kind of go explore. That's what tarot is. Yeah, it gives you avenues. Yeah, it gives you it doesn't give you the solution. It gives you the inspired frame of mind that arrives at the solution. The tarot suggests ways to say, okay, look, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Are you relying enough on this part of you? Maybe you've ignored. Maybe it'll have something to offer, and you come up with a solution. The tarot doesn't just say, "Oh, here it is. Here's the solution. Turn left, at the third light, and go to the store at the end of the block, and buy 5 rolls of paper towel, and bring them back, and your problem will be solved." So tarot doesn't really do that. And the other thing about tarot is it kind of wants consistency. It wants you to sort of delve into it on an ongoing basis, not just one, like, oh, here, I just want an answer just because I need an answer real quick. The tarot actually wants you to develop sort of a frame of mind where you kind of consistently ponder these things and maybe use the tarot to give yourself a little encouragement or something. It kind of wants you to use it as a reliable friend, kind of. That's what tarot really does best. Yeah, it's a, but I found actually, I think a lot of people seem to have sort of an innate understanding of how tarot is kind of like how it has a flexibility to it. It's very rare that I run into those few people that are much more sort of set in their thinking about tarot and just feel like it's either this or that, or it's nonsense and totally negative. There are occasionally people that will have those ideas, and it's just because I always say it's just because they may be actually reacting to how things certain people have said to them about tarot in the past that may have been misleading. That's probably a big part of it. In my opinion, do I think that there can't be a real communication between one and a God? Actually, it could give you the tools on how to connect yourself to them, or give you a hint that you could have possibly missed. So let me think about what you're at. In my opinion, I think there can't be a real communication between actually, I could give you the tools on how to connect. Okay. So the tarot, what you're saying is, does the tarot not give you an actual communication? So in other words, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Well, I mean, if you're asking if the tarot can say, like, if you look, you get into real religious philosophy there, because if you are, the story, the old biblical story of God telling Abraham to sacrifice his son, right? It's the Old Testament. Sacrifice his son on the mountain. And he takes his son up there to sacrifice him because God told him to. And then at the last moment, God says, no, don't. I was just testing you, basically. I was just testing you to see if you would kill your son because I told you to. And in fact, you were going to. So you're good. Yeah, that so it's like, if you're talking, so the tarot talks to you, I think, the way you want it to. If you feel that the cards are relaying direct messages from your God, then that's what they will do. If you believe it, then that's what they're doing. After all, the tarot only works because of us reading it. It works because we're looking at it. And if that's the decision that one makes, then that is what the cards will give to you. I would say, that personally, I don't really do that kind of connecting to such a degree with a God. I feel like gods are rather open, sort of like tarot, that they are kind of open messaging in a way. They tend not to be really all that specific. So I think all of these things, gods, tarot, oracles of any kind, all of these things, they speak in tongues. They speak in a difficult language that's not specific and that is open to interpretation. And how you interpret it is a very personal thing. Like, I'm one of these tarot readers who I profess to have no psychic abilities whatsoever. I have no clairvoyance. I have no connection whatsoever to any special force, anything. No mystical power whatsoever. None. I'm just a person with 78 pictures. And I look at them and I talk about what they suggest. Another question. If one has to make a reading for themselves about anything, that makes it kind of, I think you mean biased, in a sense of I'm about to have the answer I want to hear. Well, it's not important whether you're biased or not is not important. We're all biased. We can't help it because we look out at the world through our own eyes. So you cannot avoid bias. It's there by definition. It's built into everything you see, smell, hear, touch, taste. It's built in. You're biased. There's no getting away from it. So the trick is, you do it anyway. You look at the cards, you see what they suggest to you. I look at this card. Okay, I'm biased. Here's the Knight of Cups. I really didn't want it to come in upside down. I wanted it to come in right side up. It annoys me that it comes in upside down. But it did come in upside down. Now, I'm biased, so I'm going to say, well, it's not so bad that it's upside down. I can still actively pursue my heart. Yes, I can, because tarot cards are not rigid. They're not, it's either this or the highway, pal. It's talking to you about not being able to follow your heart. It's mentioning not being able to follow your heart. But it's not saying you can't ever follow your heart. And so if you're biased, then you say, well, I don't really want it to be upside down. I want it to be right side up so I can follow my heart. But do you see what's going on there? You're biased and you want it to turn right side up. So that's what you start looking at But that's good. There's nothing wrong with that because you're looking at the card from a different perspective, from your biased perspective, yet it's still something of value for you because now you're saying, well, I don't want it to be upside down. I don't want to not be able to follow my heart. I want to follow my heart. So damn it, I want it to be this way. And I'm going to read the card as me following my heart. Well, okay, so you followed your bias. Well, that may be exactly what you should do, is like insist that you follow your heart. Don't take the negative for an answer because you're biased. So follow your bias, make it positive, and the tarot has done something for you. So your bias is all part of the situation. It's all part of it. It's built in. You can't get away from your bias. Yes, of course we can. When we're in an argument or we're in business or we're doing things at work, we're trying to solve problems. Yes, we can control our biases. Of course we can. We can moderate and we can understand other points of view. Absolutely. That's what functioning normal people do. But when you're talking about all this emotional, spiritual stuff, biases are, we're not going to just throw our biases and go, oh, I'm going to be totally reasonable about this tarot. I'm not going to pay attention to my biases at all because I'm too smart to fall into that trap. No, the biases are going to be there. They're going to obviously exist. You just let them be there. You don't let them bug you. You don't let them defeat what you're doing. You still find things of value. You still find the gems in the tarot that come out and actually help and inspire you, regardless of your biases. Sometimes it's about confirming our true desires and ideals, absolutely. Or confirming them, or simply reminding us that they may be there to be found. Because sometimes we ignore those things. We're look, if you live in Manhattan in New York and you ride the subway to work and you go, every single day and put on your business clothes and you're going up into an office and blah, 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 blah. The last damn thing you're thinking about is esoteric, spiritual stuff. You're just not doing it. And sometimes, tarot, one day you walk into a little place and some crazy lady gives you a tarot reading and you're like, man, I haven't thought about this in years. Wow, that's really cool. 5 of hearts came up. Hearts. Same thing. Cups, the heart. 5 of hearts came up on the top just then. 5 is, all about, like if you walk you've been working in Manhattan all those years, you're bored and you're tired and you walk into some crazy lady, she gives you a reading and the 5 of hearts comes up and it's like, whoa, something new. There's a new feeling here that's kind of unsettling, but man, I'm interested. That's what the 5 is. That unsettling number, the unsettling of stable, dependable boredom. You're a very rational person. So am I, believe it or not. I write computer code, for God's sake. It's the definition of rational. You tend to rationalize a lot of the stuff around you, especially if it's about choices and making things 100% right. It may sound as a common fear, but you really fear mistakes. So kind of rejected the idea to make readings for yourself and just make them for the others because I don't want to influence my own answer. Yeah, like if you feel something off, even just a little bit, won't make that choice. Yeah, so if you fear mistakes, well, yeah, then don't look at them as answers. Don't look at the tarot as an answer. Look at it as purely when the cards appear to you, if you do a reading for yourself, just ask yourself, what pops into my head? What pops into my head when that card, not what some book tells me. What do I instantly feel? And even if it's based in your bias, it's still a valuable insight. Like, I think, you know how they talk about when you meditate. If you meditate, the idea is to clear your mind and calm your thoughts and kind of sit there. But if something comes into your mind, or your mind starts racing, the other lesson about meditation is don't let that worry you. It happens. Just don't get attached. The more you worry and the more you try to perfect your meditation, the more problems you'll run into. Thank you, Jacoby. Let the mind do what it will do. It passes by like waves on the ocean. And think of your mind more that way, like the ocean surface going up and down. And sometimes it gets choppy and then sometimes it smooths out, right? Same thing with tarot. Don't let your own perceptions, your own biases, don't let the fear of them bother you. They're going to be there. Just look at what the tarot is showing and see what it is you feel. It's instead of trying to see it as an answer or as a guide, see it more as what is it giving me? What does it instinctively kind of make me feel like doing? You're very careful on how you're studying tarot and studying the different readings one can make. I'm scared that I will believe 100% what a book or a website says without actually understanding if it's right or not. It's about your past, fear of mistakes, and living in illusion. Well, yeah, there's if you believe what a book or a website says without understanding whether it's right, you don't need to really worry too much with tarot about being right. You can, even if you're wrong, it's still going to give you something because you're still looking at a picture or a bunch of pictures, and you're probably going to get kind of inspired by at least one of the combinations of pictures that come out. You're going to at least gain some little something, even if it's no more than just thinking that a certain combination of cards look really cool and colorful together. And books, there are lots of books that say contradictory things about this or that. And knowing a bunch of contradictory things or perspectives about certain tarot cards is totally fine, because then you see where you naturally eventually sort of come down, like where you feel most comfortable thinking a card kind of works. Like I feel most comfortable with the Judgment card, about like it's an inner voice. It's listening to what you feel like makes you able to sort of feel good about yourself at the end of the day. That's what the judgment card says. Or at the end of one's life, if you're, you can look at it that way. How am I going to feel about my life, when I'm 99? So, but that's the way I sort of have, after reading a bunch of different things about the card, that's what I kind of come down on there with that. It works for me. That's where I feel like that's what it means. And it doesn't have to agree with what every book says, because people who write books can be dead wrong. Right? They can totally be wrong. They could totally just be pulling it out of their ear and making it up, and have only been looking at tarot for a few weeks. We don't know. Somebody joined, but I didn't get the. Here we go. Yeah, sometimes the queue. Hi, Jacobil. You're up. I've got you. I got you in the queue. So, Jacobil, you can pick your topic, and I am shuffling the cards. I got to open my can of water here because I'm thirsty again. And Aries, it's an interesting topic interesting ideas you brought up. Oh, Jacobil, then you don't have to pick a topic. You can just get a general. You can just say, a general reading, sort of just for general inspiration. Or, just about the Jacobi, just about how sort of what to sort of think about or ponder just in the short term, something like that. Is that about like, okay, I gotcha. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Now, the cards can't really do, they can't give advice for anything related to mental illness. You know what I mean? They can't really do that. The cards won't know what to do to make but they give ideas, and they give ideas for it's like talking to a friend, basically, who has your best interests at heart. It's like talking to someone who feels that you're very important to them. That's what tarot is good at. So let's see what the tarot. And I do have to say, Jacobi, that I think streaming and this kind of thing, these places on Twitch and stuff, they're actually a really great thing. They just are. Because everybody has times when they don't want to leave the house. I've gone through that. And stuff like this is like, it didn't exist 20 years ago, It's really amazing. overarching signal, the 4 of wands. Wands are the fire, the creative. Now, the 4 is that number of stability and kind of being safe. It's reversed. So basically the cards are sort of saying, well, yes, okay, being safe and being secure, but it's and this is not talking so much about the physical, because this is the wands. This is talking about the creative spirit. So what the cards are doing is they're saying, they kind of don't want to talk about the physical thing. They don't want to talk about being in a house anywhere. They want to talk about what's going on with the mind and the creative impulse and the desire to make something. They want to talk about that. They're saying they don't care where you are. Basically, the card is saying here, it doesn't care where you are. All it wants to know is, are you following your creative instincts? Are you allowing yourself to grow and prosper and make or think about or, sort of build what it is you want for yourself? What are you following your creative urge? That's what the card is suggesting. And there's millions of ways to do that. And you don't have to be social to do that. That's what the card is getting at here. It's talking about creative fire, your passion. What is it you're passionate about? Are you being super safe about that passion, that interest of yours? Or are you exploring it? Are you exploring that interest fully? That's what this card is concerned with. And then over here, unconscious. Over here, very conscious. We have 2 right side up cards. Now, all of these cards are number cards. And so what that means is they're not big, difficult, insurmountable things. They're not lasting conditions. They kind of move in and out, They're kind of like the waves rippling on the water. Now this one, the 10 of Cups. Okay, this is something you may not be aware of. This is underneath. An incredible amount of heart and love. Incredible amount of fullness. And, it's almost like sometimes people who are most protective of themselves, the most afraid to, make contact, are the people with the fullest hearts, right? They're so full. They're so in touch and they can react, and these feelings are big. But what this also shows is that under the surface, some part of you something you never really consider is this full heart and real love that you're very, very capable of. And the 10 is the sort of something has finished. Something has been achieved, and you are ready for this next thing. Now, the cards are tying that to your creative instincts here. This may have nothing to do with having sudden bursts of good feeling and rushing out of the house. Absolutely not. The cards are not even concerning themselves with that. The cards are saying, no, there's all this feeling there, but we're talking about right now your creative energy. This 4 is reversed, which means it might be time to start breaking the mold with your creative ideas and what it is you love to do and pursue. Maybe break the mold and find new ways of exploring that. That's why that 4 is there. Now you've got all of this good, something here about an ability to follow your heart like nobody's business. And then to pay attention to, coming up soon, you have the 5 of coins. Now, the coins are concerned with physical reality. That's their whole thing. And the 5 is the number of breaking out of the 4. Okay? So this card here suggests that there is thought to be given. At least, because it's on the right, it means something coming up. So it might be something that is coming up that will occur to you, or that you might notice, where you see an opportunity, maybe because you're expressing new ways of doing what it is you enjoy doing or making, because you acknowledge that you have this incredibly sensitive, full heart here, and that you've accomplished something with it, and you're ready for something new, a new experience, new emotions. You're ready. That's what the 10 is. And because of the combination of these factors, it's possible that coming up, there is a potential shift in reality that the cards are simply saying they're not predicting a shift. They're saying be aware that there's a potential. And when it comes, you will probably at that time know what to do because of all of this creative energy that you have been able to rely on in safety, but you may start sort of shifting up a little bit, changing it up a little bit. And because you're so in touch with what is going on, you want, following what it is you love to do is something only some of us can do some of the time. And if you're ready for the next big stage of that, that's a huge, powerful life moment. And it doesn't mean you have to do it in or outside of a house. You know what I mean? But this is some kind of physical circumstance here that the cards are suggesting. Just be observant and look for the time when it becomes apparent that something's shifting. Because the 5 is all about a shift. The 5 comes in and says, well, the security of the 4 is being a little destabilized now, but it's always a moment for growth. We react with like, oh God, oh my gosh, what's going on? But it's always a moment for growth. And that's what the cards are saying. Just notice that when this comes up, you will have, basically all of this creative capability and emotional understanding to be able to look at this moment and go, well, I can make any decision I wish here. I can do as I please. That's what this reading is hinting at here. You're very welcome. Yeah, again, the thing about the whole Twitch thing, and, I've noticed in other areas also, like people do role play and stuff on servers, and they get a lot of positive feedback from followers in chat, and it can be a very, very good environment. I've found people talking to each other, giving each other tips, people expressing all of their fears and stuff, and they get very open and honest with each other. And it's a thing that I think is underestimated as a really great sort of a thing for people. You don't have much to say, but after years of this, you find yourself very broken. You've lost most friends. I don't get along well with people anymore, and I have no idea what I'm passionate about. However, I will try to be open to exploring new avenues, even as general advice from another person would be a good thing. I've tried before. Yeah, what is the card? The Hanged Man, I always talk about. These things, they take their own time. You can't make yourself do or be a certain way. You can't make yourself suddenly good at making friends. I've found that just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. And the Hanged Man is all about being sort of like, things take the time they take. Yeah, it sounds like that. Jacoby. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I I would say it, but well, that's what I was going to say, that therapists, I mean, therapy, like anything else, it depends, I think, on who you have, right? If you have a good therapist, then I think that's like gold. Could be like the one person someone feels really comfortable with, which is a great thing. So, yeah. I mean, at some point, I think everyone can use a therapist, a good therapist. At some point in life, even at intermittent times, I know, knowing what kind you need, I know. It's like, how do you ever figure that out? I've always wondered the same thing. How in the hell do you know? It's like, where's the guide, right? Yeah. I do remember, though, once many years ago, I did it. I went, and I remember I used to really enjoy it, because what I would do is I would go, and I'm kind of like you. I don't really make a lot of friends. There are times you yearn for a therapist to yell at you. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, if you get used to one thing, then you kind of want the other. But I used to do it, and when I was finished, I would leave, and I would just go to a restaurant, nearby, and just have dinner all by myself, and just sit down at a table all by myself with a nice white tablecloth and order a meal and just sit there and eat dinner, and to make like a special day of it. That's just the way I did it. And I was like, oh, this is great. I love this. But because when I do things like that, I like to kind of put a lot of attention on them. I actually liked being alone. I liked having dinner alone, where I didn't have to come up with something to say. I just thought about my food and about the nice restaurant. Just completely, or I thought about like the session I'd just been through, and yeah, right. Didn't want to talk about the weather. Yeah, I mean, because and sometimes, fascinating discussions happen with a therapist. They can be very interesting, and you can come up with things you just didn't know you were even capable of. And so just sitting there having dinner, I just sort of felt was a good way to kind of like just think over, what I'd been talking about or whatever, and without any distraction other than the waiter, asking what I needed. That's all. Yeah, it's a great way to do it, I think. Yeah, I mean, look, I can, just because I am able to ramble on and talk about like some game when I'm streaming, if I'm not doing tarot, just talk about whatever, sometimes it's also good to just be totally silent and just do something completely apart from everyone. And, just, I guess in a way, it's very meditative. It's also interesting how you meet people when you go and you eat dinner alone. People like you will meet people. And I mean, normally it's the people who work at the restaurant, because they come to you and then they notice you're alone and they start talking to you. And it's amazing how many people will start actually like talking to you. And you're like, wow, because you're alone and you're not occupied. It's a very interesting little phenomenon. Interesting story. Interesting story. Driving across the country by yourself. Yeah. That actually sounds fun. I think I would actually do that. I would stop at diners. Yeah, I would stop at diners. I did it. I actually did drive across the country, but I did it with someone, which was fine. But I think doing it alone would be really cool. But stopping at diners, like for eggs, bacon and eggs. That is what I would be. I would be looking for a diner like every 100 miles. It would take me like 3 weeks to get across. Because I'd be like, diner for breakfast. Oh, I'll find a diner for lunch. Now for dinner. Yeah, it does. Yeah, sometimes, I'm telling you, man, a diner can hit like a certain thing better than a great restaurant. Yeah, it does. And you know how many scenes in like shows, TV shows on Netflix, they always have people coming into a diner talking about some crime or something. They're always plotting and doing things in a diner. And you can see like the highway behind them out the window, the cars going by, and they're like, they take a few, like they sip the coffee, and then the waiter comes and they usually order one thing, and then you know they'll like take one bite of something, but it's always like an all-American kind of diner. Oh, you're talking about Friends now. Man, that was a long time ago now. Man, sometimes I can't believe how much time has gone by since Friends went off the air. It's forever. I remember when The Sopranos came out, and it was like the new thing, and now that's ancient history. God, everybody was talking, seems like just last week, about The Sopranos, this new show. It's like incredible. It's so real. Breaking Bad is already old as hell now. Jeez. Yeah, you are young. Yes, yeah, you still tell people. Yeah. Well, it was really good, man. Really good. Oh, yeah. Diners, see? You just can't get away from them. They'll never go anywhere. They'll be the last restaurant standing. There's a show that I have been watching called The Bear. It's about a young guy who takes over a Chicago restaurant. I've only been streaming. Well, I streamed a bit a couple years ago, briefly. And then I started streaming like, I don't know, a couple months ago. Month and a half ago, maybe. I'm still trying to figure out what it is Twitch wants us all to do. It's like, I'm like, what? What do you do here? How do you set this up? Well, yeah, man. When I was 33, I was just a bag full of bad decisions. Hi, Inky. Talk of diners. That's right. From 15 to 20, well, that's pretty damn young. So that's a good time to get through the bad decisions. Well, 2 knee surgeries. Man, I hate knees. I'm telling you, man. Yeah, The Bear, it's actually really cool. I like the way characters are sort of they're like, I don't know, they're just kind of, they have like odd manner. Each character has their own set of weird little mannerisms, you know, and they're like not afraid. The characters don't try to act like cool. They're just kind of like awkward all the time. They're completely unafraid of being totally awkward. Yeah, Inky, if you want to pick something for the cards, you can do it. The cards are sitting right there, right here on my red table. They are silent at the moment. No, they cost $1,457.13. I'm just kidding. Yes, they're free. They cost this much. They cost that much. Zero. And I don't know how to make them cost anything anyway on stupid Twitch. I don't know how to use Twitch. All I know is how to plug the camera in and do the tarot. The Twitch crap with all these weird little things like gems and shit. I don't know what those are. Okay, so a reading. Oh, good boy points. Is that what they are? I'm just not a Twitch pro, man. I'm like, whatever. If it shows the stuff, if the stuff shows on the screen and people can hear, that's good. That's all good. Oh, Bezos owns this? That's right. Somewhere behind the scenes, right? So, Inky, I think you're are you sort of leaning toward just sort of a general reading? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Let's see what comes out of here. Our main consideration there. All right, Inky. We have. Wow. You know, it's funny. This card has come up in this position earlier this evening. All right. The High Priestess reversed. Now, what the High Priestess, the message here is, she's very sort of intuitive thinking and kind of going in and accessing hard to get to places in our minds and kind of bringing them out where they can be put to use, bringing them in, expressing things in words that are somewhat inexpressible or almost unknowable. It's poetic thinking. That's what the High Priestess is good at. She gets at spirituality that is outside of the tradition of the normal sort of religious, more structured thing. And what's funny is we have structured religion just over here to the right of her, but let's get there when we get there. And she is upside down. So there's the tarot is concerned in this reading about ignoring the quiet, subtle, almost irrational part of life and bringing it and using its power in what we do, accessing it for ourselves. If we're having trouble getting to that or trusting it, that's what this card is referring to. And then over here, there's a very physical card with the King of Coins, also reversed. Now, kings are authority. They are decision-making, strength and power, confidence. So on a physical level, there may be some worry here, and this is the unconscious left-hand card position. There may be some unconscious thing we're not really thinking about that plays a role underneath, which is a slight discomfort, not quite fully confident in something physical or perhaps financial, but it's in the physical realm here, the material realm. There's an aspect, something that is easily worries us. Instead of having that kingly confidence and authority to make decisions, there's hesitance, there's nervousness, okay, in a physical material realm that's affecting us. Now, over on the right, something to kind of look out for, okay, coming to be aware of. There's a lot here in the High Priest card about listening and learning, paying attention. The card is right side up, so it's suggesting listening to ideas that have a basis, a solid foundation, or are sometimes based in tradition. They may be, there's teaching involved, there's learning. The cards are suggesting paying attention and learning from some source that will make itself apparent. There's a lot to be learned. And these are both major cards. So whatever unconscious sort of intuitive difficulties there are, combined with some physical nervousness about something, a little lack of confidence somewhere, there is this really powerful opportunity to learn and to seek wisdom coming up, the seeking of wisdom. But it's not, this is very much, these are complementary. In other words, this is very poetic and unconscious sort of access to spirituality. And this is a much more structured and materially oriented access to spirituality. Organized religion versus free spirituality. The free spirituality here is kind of having a little bit of trouble. And so the cards are leaning towards something a little bit more structured. What maybe has been ignored or what opportunity is coming for some sort of structured learning. It doesn't have to be religious. The implication in this card is much broader than that. It's about learning and the environment between a teacher and a learner, and how that exchange happens, and how sometimes it's valuable to seek a more stable traditional approach. And that's what the cards are looking at. And perhaps, the cards in reversal here are suggesting, well, if there's some trouble with some nervousness, lack of confidence, and some problems accessing this sort of unknowable part of ourselves, the kind of part of ourselves that I don't know. It's that artistic sort of side of ourselves, the mysterious part that we're having trouble with. Well, the point is, look for the opportunity to learn in a much more traditional way and see how that sort of joggles things around here a little bit and makes things shift a bit. Yeah, subconscious, exactly. The subconscious, sometimes we ignore, we get into situations and times of life where we just don't pay attention to those things. We don't remember our dreams, and we just don't feel like doing it. It puts us off. It makes us feel silly or something. That's why this comes in a reversal. That's what that's talking about. And so finding a traditional, this could mean college. This could mean a great professor at a school that has something very valuable to offer. It could be that. So, Inky, this is a very subtle reading, actually. Anything that brings the High Priestess in has a very sort of ambiguous flavor to it. It's very hard to pin that card down. But that's what it's about. It's about the hard to pin down. It's about being able to allow that part of the mind to function that you can't quite get a firm grip on. That its ideas are very hard to actually rationalize and justify because they're inspirational, they're poetic, they're coming from mystery part of us. And accessing it is sometimes very difficult and far away. The traditional way of learning, yeah. You go to classical school and have been thinking about and wanting to go to public school for a while. And this card is all swimming around in the waters of school, organized religion, anything to do with the sharing of understanding, knowledge, wisdom. That's what that card does. So, and the card is saying, look, this is something to think about coming up. Could be talking about grades. It's possible. But it's probably more talking about the frame of mind around that it's talking about kind of exploring parts of how we think, experimenting with them, the delving into the subconscious versus delving much more into the conscious. The subconscious here is being given a little bit of a less significance, and it's pointing toward more conscious sorts of rational thinking over here. So is a classical school like more of a kind of a private, it's a private kind of a thing versus the public? I get so thirsty when I stream. Old Testament is a intense read. Yeah. Some of those histories that God goes through, who begat whom. Oof. Man, it's hard to get through some of that. Who begat who, and then so-and-so begat this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and get a copy that has large print, man, because some of those Bibles are printed in really, really, really tiny fonts. Book of Numbers. Yeah. Yeah, that's I remember many years ago I read it. I was actually kind of like, there's something enjoyable about the language. Yeah, Old Testament reading. It's highly dramatic also. Yeah. So you're doing an in-depth study and comparison. Okay. There you go. Yeah, that's going to be quite, hey, you know what? I think you've just answered your own question about your passion. You're going to do all that work in 3 weeks? Oh, see, you'd be like, yeah, that's yesterday's news. Right. What Bible? Huh? Is that like a long? Is that long? Is that a long novel? Yeah, the Tibet thing. It's very strange. China's behavior is, well, aren't all authoritarian countries, isn't all their behavior very odd? I always wonder, how does it happen? How do they get there? This deck is more shuffled than in all of human history. Yes, power corrupts. That's one of the foundational principles of all democracies, is that power corrupts. Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing about, that warning about power. Politicians are actually supposed to serve temporarily. They're not supposed to want to cling. Clinging to offices and power is contrary to how democratic governments are supposed to function. You're not supposed to want or need to be president. You're supposed to serve to try to help. That's interesting. I've often said the same thing, that where are the most lives actually being taken? Yeah. The problem with Ukraine, though, is purely one of the Russia will, they are so irrational that having that happen on the borders of in Europe is just, it's too dangerous to the heart of Europe. So they have to react. Unfortunately, they didn't react soon enough. I think the move would have been I actually think that the United States should have hit Russia on the border of Ukraine as soon as they showed up there. I mean, I hate to say it. It sounds hawkish, but the move is the move. And if you miss it, then everybody gets dug in and it turns into an intractable situation. When they are coming, you have to boom, instantaneous. You cannot sleep. But that's just me. That's just an amateur perspective. Oh, yeah. I mean, but of course they would be corrupt because they've been dominated by guess who? The Russians for so long. I mean, of course they're corrupt. That, you know, it's chaos over there. Anything bordering Russia all along there is just chaos. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the nukes are a big, big problem. It just won't go away. Nobody can react the way they actually should with the nukes hanging over everyone's head. The correct reaction when Russia piles 150,000 men up on the border of Europe is to shoot them. That's the reaction. But you can't with the nuclear weapons. But if we were in another world without nuclear weapons, as soon as all those tanks showed up on the border of Ukraine, we would have taken them out. As brutal as it sounds, that's what we would have done. That's what we would do with any other country that didn't have nukes. Oh yeah, historically these places have had all kinds of horrible attachments and supported the completely wrong thing. Absolutely. Oh yeah. No, I mean these are the thing. These are why you know, it's very hard to figure out who to support in these things sometimes because of all these historical like behaviors. It's never as simple as people want it to be. But the one simple thing is, I do know, is that in the modern world, you can't have Russia invading a European nation. You just can't allow it. It's just, it almost makes every other point irrelevant. It's just too dangerous. You know. Oh, I'm getting tired. I think I'm going to wind myself down. Thinking about Russia, it's too much. It's too much for me. Too much for my little brain to handle. I need the high priestess. I don't like thinking about militaries. I can't figure it out. Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's going to be an odd 5 years coming up, I gotta say. All right, I think it actually is getting to be my bedtime. I'm not even kidding. I actually talk politics a lot. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Jacoby. Yeah. And let's see, tomorrow's Friday. Sometimes I try to actually stream on Friday. I'm trying to figure out. Anyway, I often do, but at some point I'm going to stream sometime around this weekend. Before doing it again for sure on Monday. You're very welcome, Jacoby. Very, very good conversation. Okay, I gotta close the queue. All right. So, yeah. Been a great talk and good readings. Yeah. I'm sure our paths will align because I'll be here doing this because I actually enjoy doing this damn tarot. So, okay. I'll sign off and I'll try to come back tomorrow evening. If I miss tomorrow evening, I can't quite remember what I'm supposed to do. I'll come back on Saturday. All right. Later, tarot gators. Okay. Take care. Sleep well. I'm raiding Imalaxamize channel.